Hey guys, and welcome back to Shipment from Shiloh. I'm your host Graham, and I've got a neat Jinteki PE deck to share with you today that I've been working on a little bit. We're going to keep this because it's got the pad campaign in it. Howdy. Good luck. He says, "Have fun, my friend," and I will say, "You as well." So this is a deck that notably uses Pad Factory to do some tricky advancement stuff. So we're going to draw to see what's good there. Oh, we got a hedge fund, and we're going to throw down a Pad campaign. There's not a ton of ice in this deck, but the idea is that it gives you lots of tools that you can use based on how you read your opponent. So this guy is not too scared to run into some stuff. I'm going to actually pay 2 for this Shikyu. We're going to get a read on him. If he chooses to take the net damage, so that means that I'm going to have to pay more for the next Shikyu. But sometimes there's some people who just don't really care, and they will just do whatever. Alright, so let's draw. We're going to throw this Miraju on HQ, and then I'm going to put this Pad Factory in a new remote here. And we're just going to pretend it's another Pad campaign. It's got a DDoS, which I don't necessarily love. So, I'm thinking here, he's probably going to run my hand next turn. And out of these agendas, the show of force is, well, maybe he's not going to run it next turn, but he could with a DDoS. So out of these agendas, probably show of force is the least safe in my hand, and then these Kusanagis are basically just there to do extra net damage, so I don't really care about that. So we're going to throw a Pad Factory out here, and then we're going to get some Value Town out of, we're going to throw the show of force out here, get some value out of the Pad Factory by advancing these guys for free. And he's going to use Wanton Destruction and sack my whole hand. So, now, out of all the stuff that's in there, obviously the Obokata is the only thing that I really care about. And I get to keep the Voter Intimidation, so that's pretty cool. Now, I think if I just score out the show of force, I'm not going to kill him or anything. I'll only do 3 net. But it's going to make him hard. It's going to be hard for him to steal the Obokata. So I'm just going to draw first, and then I'm going to advance this twice and score that out. And what it's going to do is it's going to encourage him to check my remotes next time, which hopefully I can use to land this June bug here. So. Again, definitely not too scared to run. Oh, he hits my 24/7 news cycle. Okay. Alright. I kind of want to rush out this House of Knives here. Draw? Interesting. Let's throw this House of Knives into a new remote, and then I think I'm going to protect it with a Chrysalis here. He's not crazy about trashing my stuff. Let's see. What do you have in this bin here? Nothing. So I don't love that. But if I res the Chrysalis, I think he's going to take the 2 net. And then he'll take the 1 net from hitting the House of Knives. Oh, but I hit a knife head worse. How many I've had worses have I hit so far? Just the 1. Alright, so he's going to be protected for a little bit here. Lost another Eater, though, which bodes well for me. I could res Miraju, and he can't break it. So I'm going to get to draw a card and shuffle a card back into R&D. So I'll do it. That seems fine. Yeah, he's going to let me fire, so we're going to draw a card, and then we're going to put a card back into R&D. I'm actually going to put in the stock buyback. It's not going to be good now, but it'll be really good later. And I don't want him to trash it with Eddie Kim's ability. So, yeah, hits the voter intimidation and trashes that. So I think I've lost both of those now? No, just the one. Oh, and now he's going to go hit up my pad campaign and trash that. So that's a shame. Which means next turn I'm going to be clicking for some credits. Yeah, especially because I have this hedge fund here now. So we're just going to click for 3 credits and let him continue to do Eddie Kim's stuff. Wanted destruction. I don't love that. I will draw a card. And we're going to shuffle a card back into R&D. And probably the card that I want out of these the most, or it might be the hedge fund. But the Motions are really good. So we're going to shuffle that Motion right back on in there. I do think these Mirages are going to hurt him a bit because he's not very likely to ban agendas. So we're going to draw. Let's throw this piece of ice down somewhere, right? We got to discourage him from running a bit. And then I could put it on HQ. But I really do want to get a piece of ice over R&D because otherwise he'll just keep me on R&D lock every turn and just check it. Alright, the MK Ultra comes out, which means that he can get into this remote. So I don't love that. We're going to draw. So because he can get into this remote, I'm just going to throw a pad campaign in there. And then we can preemptive actions back stuff if we need to. I think I will. I might as well, right? So we're going to get back a pad. We're going to get back a hedge fund. And we might as well get this Obokata out of the bin. So I think we're only running 2 preemptive action and not all 3. He's going to use the DDoS to get a free run on R&D. Yeah, I mean, I gotta slow this guy down. Hits the snare. I feel like that was a really expensive dirty laundry for him, right? Because he basically used 2 cards, spent 3 credits to prevent the DNA tracker from being rezzed, which of course I couldn't even afford to res it. And then gain the 3 credits back from the dirty laundry. So, you know, it's that 2 cards and a couple credits is kind of a lot to do a single access like that. All right, let's click it back up for money, so I can actually threaten snares and stuff. He's got Diesel in this deck. He's going fast. And a little bit of leftover influence. He also runs a Levy. Alright, he sees that this is a DNA tracker. He's exposed it with Deuces Wild, and now he's going to run R&D knowing that I can't threaten that. He's just going to keep me on a soft R&D lock. A cool thing is that he's got a Levy in the bin here, and I could use this voter intimidation that's in my hand to try to get rid of the Levy. So let me just think about that for a second. I feel like that's pretty relevant to my game plan here. So I'm going to let's draw. Okay, I'm going to play voter intimidation, and I'm going to spend 1 on this. He spends 2, and I'm going to get rid of the same old thing because I think that is a bit relevant to my game plan here. If I can mill him out on net damage. Early on, you want to score a couple points with this deck, I think, because that's pretty important to... Ooh, en passant! It's pretty important to create pressures by getting points. Anyway, so he saw that I couldn't afford to res it. He draws into an en passant, and then uses His Eddie ability to trash Mushin Notion uses 100% to trash the what's it called? DNA tracker that I had there, and then ends up stealing a show of force out of the deal. So we're going to throw, let's see, I'm going to throw a piece of ice on R&D, and then I'm going to throw this House of Knives into a new remote and click for credit. Maybe I should have clicked for 2 credits so I could threaten a DNA tracker. Oh man, he went right for it. So next time I get a snare, I should throw it out in a new server because he's likely to check those. Anyway, now he's got 3 agendas in his score area. My stock buyback has reached high levels. It's going to get me a net 8 credits for a single click, which is super great. He's about to take 2 or 3 bits of net damage here. The Project Kusanagi's are going to give him some damage, and then I can pay 3 with Shikyu to force him to accept the Shikyu, which means he's going to get -1 point. And now my stock buyback has reached some pretty obscene levels here. So we're going to draw. Let's throw out another pad campaign, and then I'm going to play stock buyback for a cool 18 credits. Boom! That's what I like. I like it. That's just a pad campaign, my friend. And I have 22 credits now, so you're not going to trash that. I mean, you could if you wanted to, but yeah, man, he's just gonna check every remote I got. That's great. That's great news. Because I can throw this Shikyu out into a new remote, and we're just gonna double advance it with Pad Factory. Cool thing with Pad Factory is that it lets you place advancement counters on anything. It doesn't even have to be advanceable, so you can do tricks like this where I can just force him to keep losing agenda points by advancing a Shikyu, which is pretty gnarly. Now, he did not expect that at all, because you never think of non-advanceable stuff getting advancement counters. But I did, and he's been bamboozled. Lets you put counters on anything. Immediately goes to trash the Pad Factory. Oh man, that's awesome. Well, there's another Shikyu. And I'm just gonna throw this Obokata down, and we're gonna double advance it here. He'll probably check it. It's an Obokata, so you can't steal it. But he could, if he's got like an I've Had Worse in his hand, he could play that to draw up to get enough to steal it. But he's not. Oh, maybe he was. Draw up 4. Don't forget PE damage. Nice. So he had the I've Had Worse in his hand, which triggered off of the Obokata damage, meaning that he draws 3. Then the PE damage comes in, and then he's good to go. Let's take a look at what breakers he's got in the bin here. I want to score out something here, so we're gonna throw this guy in a new remote, this guy over it, and then this guy over that. Ideally, I like to use Kakugos for a scoring remote like this, but what can you do? He's also running a bit recklessly. Maybe I shouldn't say recklessly, but he is running a whole lot. I don't want you to draw, so I'm just going to keep on going. He's trashing all my motions with his Eddie Kim ability. It's good for him. Let's see. He will definitely have enough credits to do this. And then I'm going to res the Chrysalis here. He'll probably have to eat the damage because he doesn't have enough money to install his MK Ultra. But he will end up stealing the House of Knives in here. So that's going to put him at 6 agenda points. So we're going to draw. I'll throw in a hedge fund, and then we're just going to... he seems to really enjoy checking remotes. So, I mean, I'm just going to throw in the CQ here. He doesn't seem to be drawing up very much. He's just like taking all the net damage. I think he's a bit sick of playing against this deck, maybe. Oops. Well, I didn't mean to do that, but that's okay. I'm forcing him to mill through his deck, I think. Yeah, that's right. That was unintentional. I definitely meant to bid 2 on that. So, anyway, he's... we'll see. We'll see if he decides to check this. He decided not to. So we're going to throw... Let's draw. Let's install the Kusanagi in a new remote, and then we're going to overinstall that, which is in server 9, with a snare. So if he checks archives, he gets the Shikyu. If he checks the new remote, he takes a net damage from the Project Kusanagi. If he runs the remote, he'll get hit with the snare. None of those will be killing, but I'm going to make him draw the rest of his deck here. We're going to advance out the Kusanagi with a counter. So it's going to do a net damage, and then once per turn, I can add an extra net damage sub to a piece of ice. So if he runs like R&D now, he's been spending 2 to break. So I'm going to add a do 2 net damage, or do 1 net damage sub, and he doesn't have enough money to break it, so he's going to take the net from that, which means that now a snare is going to kill him, a Ronin can kill him, which means I'm just going to install and double advance this Ronin right here, because he's pretty broke, and this is probably going to be the kill shot then, unless he can find another agenda this turn. So here's hoping that he can't. Oops. Yeah. I don't need to hit that subroutine anymore. I lucked out. I lucked out. 1,000 cuts, baby. Anyway, yeah, that's the deck. I think it's pretty interesting. There's a lot of things you can do based on what your opponent does, which I definitely got lucky. Thanks for playing. Yeah. So if that kind of thing interests you, if you like the idea of getting a ton of money from stock buyback, then I say give this deck a shot. The deck is in the show notes there, so you know, have fun with it. And we'll see you next time on Streaming from Shiloh.